We are live on Facebook. We absolutely are.
That's awesome. Great.
So welcome, everybody.
Yeah, we had some technical challenges here to start with. But yeah, we're here. We're live. My name is Maurice Zondag, and I have my co-host, John.
Polini.
Absolutely. Number one of the podcast, The Mentoring Men. Yeah, we're coming from a place, right? We don't know each other for like years. We don't go back that long, but just a couple of months. But the months were intense and awesome and great. And we really got a great connection going on there. And actually, we met at Coach Talk Cafe. If you're here and you're an old member of Coach Talk Cafe, you know what we're talking about. Coach Talk Cafe was a network of people searching for personal development in general, and yeah, that's where we got to meet, right?
Mm-hmm. And it was very intense, and we actually tried a couple of different incarnations of what ended up being this group. And one of the things that is really true is that when you want something, it may not always end up being exactly what you had envisioned, but in some cases it could be better. And in this case, I'm really thrilled that this turned out the way it did. This is something we wanted, but it didn't look like what we had envisioned when we first started it. And what was it, 6 months in the making, something like that?
I actually started talking about this with the founder of Coach Talk Cafe, Gabby, around March, I think. She had this idea of like, okay, we have subgroups of Coach Talk Cafe, right? And this one could be a group with empowering men. So it was also men's empowerment, group men's empowerment. That's where this is coming from. And back in the day, there were some other guys involved, and they kind of like left and chose different paths. And you and Tracy Brinkman also joined to set the thing on fire with men's empowerment. But then shit happens. Yeah. Especially in the private situation for Gaby, and she decided to put Coach Talk Cafe on hold, and therefore all new initiatives, which was men's empowerment. And yeah, we didn't accept the no for answer, right? It was too good to be true, and it was just too good to not to do this, because there is a big need for men like you and me to go through a personal journey and discover things about yourself and life in general. And so we decided to join forces, John and I, and Tracy is also dealing with other stuff right now, so hopefully he'll join later in time in the group as well. And but for now it's John and me, and we're kicking off. And we thought a great idea would be like a live podcast for you guys to be here to see the things happening as we go. We'll do this every week, and we'll just pick one subject to talk about, and we hope we can give you some direction in things in life. And if you got any questions, you can just comment on the video, and hopefully, John, you see the live video as well or not?
We have the live video. I saw it on Zoom on Facebook.
All right, so we have to check that if there's any questions going on there, and then
put it in the comments. But sometimes it's really hard for guys to be able to admit that I need help with something, and that's why we're here. This is a place for the guys to talk about whatever it is that is driving you up the wall right now. Whatever's in front of you, you can't get around it, over it, through it. We can help you figure out. And it's really about, part of it is about knowing exactly what it is you want, knowing exactly why you want it. People get focused, they get so entrenched in, how am I going to do this? Somebody hits you, your boss, your wife, your girlfriend, whoever it is, somebody hits you with something new that you've not done before. How the hell am I going to do this? I got to do this, I have to do this, and now I have to do this. Forget how. Yeah. Figure out what it is that you want and why do you want it. And you got to be crystal clear on it.
Well, that's where it starts. That's where it starts for us as well, right? So why are we doing this podcast? Let's have a little backstory. John, tell a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where do you came from? What's happening? How did you get into this space?
I'm 55 years old. I'm a divorced father of 4. I got 2 sets of twins. The greatest blessing I've ever had is when we're going to go back a little bit, and I'm going to bounce around. So I was given up for adoption when I was born, and I was adopted when I was 6 months old. And at some point, somehow, I haven't got a clue how this started, but the idea of if my own parents didn't want me, what can I possibly be worth? What value do I have? That got stuck in my head. My own parents didn't want me. I'm not worth it. And I stacked on top of that. Why bother going after the pretty girl? Why bother going after, the good grades in school? And why bother going on to a sports team? Not worth it anyway. I'm not worth it. Why bother trying? And that got stuck in my head for decades. The fact that my parents who adopted me and raised me, they did want me and they did love me, that didn't come into play for decades later. But it was, now I'm going to fast forward about 40, 50 years or so, but when I got divorced, is when I went face first into the wall and realized something had to change. Something is not right. This is not what my life was supposed to be. It's not what I wanted it to. What the fuck is going on? And I had to do some I had to dig real deep and take a look in the mirror and be honest, just brutally honest with myself. I can't figure this out. I haven't figured that out. How the hell did my marriage fail? What went sideways on that? But I had to come to the realization and accept the fact that this is where I am. This is where I want to be. How do I get? And with training and, groups like Coach Talk Cafe and people like Tony Robbins and Joseph McClendon and Mary Morrissey and Joe Dispenza and all these different people that are out there to help you figure this stuff out, the wheels finally started to turn. And I finally did figure out that I can get where I want to be. It's going to take work. It's going to take time, but I can get where I want to be. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but it can be overnight in my mind. I can actually make a choice here and decide that if I don't do anything, where the hell am I going to be a year from now? I'm going to be worse because I'll be a year older and in the same place.
Yeah.
But if I take little steps, little bite-sized pieces of this and take a piece out of it, I'm not trying to eat the elephant in one bite. You take big bite-sized pieces out of it. And that's what we're here to do. We're going to show you how to break it down into bite-sized pieces that are manageable, and you can actually make things happen here. So that's how I got into coaching, and I absolutely love coaching. And I found out that a lot of times it's the men who need the coaching but are afraid to ask for it or don't know how to ask for it because it's a sign of weakness if you need help if you're a guy, right? Well, that's bullshit. That's right. Bullshit. Sign of strength to be able to admit, you know what, guys, I can do this, but I need a little bit of help. There's no shame in that at all. So don't be afraid to ask. That's why we're here.
Yeah, that's so true, man. For me, it's kind of like, it's a different story, but it comes down to the same thing, right? I got divorced 9 years ago, and I was really struggling with the question. Okay, so now what? What's next? What do I want? How do I even do this? What's going on here? Am I not good enough for being married and with someone, right? So all these things was really bothering me. And actually my first question into Google, because, what do you do? I was wondering, how am I ever going to find myself a new girl, right? A new woman in my life. How am I going to do that? I have no clue how to do that, actually. I never had. I was always bad with him. I had no clue what to do and how it worked and things like that. So that's pretty much what I Googled. How do I seduce a girl, right? Because there were all these dating apps and dating sites at that time, and which wasn't before my marriage and when we got to know each other, of course. So, dude, there was a world opening up for me that I didn't even know that existed there, right? It was insane. With all these dating gurus and night game and day game and I don't know what else, but that led to the fact that I started learning about dating and about seduction and attraction and things like that. And I kind of learned that you can actually develop a skill, like a social skill. Like I was a social guy, right? I had friends, but just with women, I was terrified to ask a girl whatever, right? To just approach a girl. So I had all these nice guy syndrome and approaching anxiety, things like that. And I got over it just by learning, right? Working with a coach, working with a mentor, working with trainers, watching videos, reading books, all the 9 yards. And I remember that one night we were off here in town with this dating coach, and we had a blast, right? It was great fun. I mean, we can have a beer and drink and tell some stories, share some stories there. It was an awesome time, of course, to discover this process of seduction and, you know, dating women in all sorts. But this guy said, this coach of me said, you know, Maurice, I have no idea what I could teach you anymore. You're done. You know how to do this. You can do this. I was like, really? Okay. Oh, okay. And that really made me realize you can learn this shit. And how cool is it that you can teach others as well? Because he said after that, like, okay, well, you know, I was actually thinking about starting my own coaching business there. And are you willing to join? And you want to participate in that? Well, yeah, let's find out how that goes, right? So all of a sudden, from being someone who had no clue what to do with women, I all of a sudden became a coach, became a dating coach, right? So done that a couple of years, crazy times, awesome times. And it's so cool to help men in all areas of life. And, you know, for me, it really made clear that when I realized, wait a minute, I have changed in so many ways. It's not about the dating only, right? It's not about the fact that I now know how, you know, to seduce a woman. No, I know now who I am and my authenticity and who, you know, how am I showing up to the world? And that's the attraction actually that you're portraying. But it had to do so much more in life than just who I am, or like the tricks or the techniques that you learn with dating skills, right? So it was really a discovery of me, and that like hit everything fell into place. And I was like, it's not about the dating coaching. I mean, it's fun, right? It's fun to teach guys about that. And I love doing it. I still do it, right? I have clients that we work on that, but there's so much more in there because it's really about you and developing you. And I think that, so that's how I became a life coach, leadership coach, personal leadership, really, because it's about your leadership, right? And from there, you can take it to the next level to leadership coaching. And
yeah, you know, if I couldn't imagine going to a club now at 55 years old. You know, it is like the last place I'd want to be.
Man, I can tell you, I was 39 when I got divorced, right? So if you're 55, like that's young, but if you're 39, that's old, right? You're old. You're getting 40, and I don't know. Yeah. And I don't like women who are 45 years old, right? I like the 30 years old. But they, of course, have already boyfriends, men, whatever. And I'm too old. Blah blah blah. All these self-limiting beliefs came up, right? And I learned through the practice of what I did just to break through that. And no, man, that's bullshit. And actually, my current girlfriend that I have right now is 33. Well, I'm now. How old am I? 48. So, you know, that's not an issue. It's not an issue, but it's just how you're showing up. And as a last part, I want to add is that you know, finding the whole mental part and who you are and development on that starts with the foundation, which is your health. So last year I lost like 30 pounds in 7-8 weeks. No, not 7, in 13 weeks, 3 months, and went on full on that. I learned about the ketogenic diet, about nutrition, about everything that has to do with healthy food and how it works and how biology and all shit that's in there. Sometimes literally, but yeah, and how that works for you, right? So working as a certified health coach and a life coach is like the optimal combination for me, and helping men, specifically helping men to break through their own barriers there. Yeah. So yeah, I'm so glad that we're doing this, John. It's amazing. And
well, you know, you were talking about when you got divorced first, one of the first things you were thinking about was how am I going to meet another girl?
Yeah.
But there was never anything wrong with you. What was wrong, if I can take a stab at this, was that there was a confidence issue. Your whole world had just imploded.
Yeah, man.
You didn't know who you were anymore.
Yeah.
But the ability to attract the person that you truly want in your life comes after you do the work on you.
Exactly.
And you find out really who you truly are.
Yeah.
And you can honestly say, because when you ask somebody, well, what is it that you want? The first thing they give you is a list of everything they don't want. And it's because they don't know what they want, because you haven't done the internal work. You haven't done that deep dive into yourself. What is it that you really want? You know what you don't want. Whatever's left over must be what you want. Well, define it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a hard thing to have to do. But after a while of doing this, and once you start to get into the routine of really finding out who you are, there is a confidence that just shows up. And all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I'm not the same person I was 6 months ago, 3 months ago, a year ago, whatever it is. There's that air of confidence, and that shows. And guess what, guys? That's what the girls are attracted to, that air of confidence. That's a big part of the equation. So if you're single and you're looking, do that deep dive, do that inner work, find out what it is that you want. Some guys are going to be saying, what, inner work? What are you talking about? Yeah, be a man, accept the fact that there are some things that you just don't know yet. And maybe we can help you, but you got to be open to it. You got to be willing to listen to it. You got to be ready to do the work, because we can show you how, but you are the one who's going to do the work, and you're going to benefit from it when you.
Yeah, and that's why we're here, right? That's why we're in this group, and where the guys in the group. It's so cool that you already are here in so many numbers within the first week, right? So keep spreading the word, I would say. But it's very true, John. And one thing that I realized later is that I didn't know what I want. I didn't know. I have to say different. I didn't know that I had to develop myself. Right? I just knew what I want. I want to date. I want to learn how to seduce women. That's my want. And why did I want it? Well, I don't want to die alone, right? Or stay alone for the rest of my life. So I want to see how I can fix this. And learning by doing, learning that skill made my comfort zone of who I am and where I'm comfortable in. And that's where your confidence shows, right? You're confident where you're in your comfort zone, you know what to do. And once that grew, then I discovered, wait a minute, but it's a search within me. But that insight came later. So I just know, I want to have women, point. That's it. That's the only thing that matters, right? I don't care about personal development or personal growth or law of attraction or whatever. I want the attraction. I don't care about the law. I want the attraction. But that's a good start, right? It's about the knowing where, what is it that you want? And it is a beautiful example that if you really put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything, right? If the desire is big enough and you really want it, you're going to make it happen. So really focus on the question, what is it that you want? And that's a hard question, right? What is it that you want? But I mean, really, right? Like the most important thing in your life, what is it that you want? Is it more money? Is it a better life? Is it a healthier life? Is it more women? Right? Is it another job? Is it, what is it that you want, that you want?
Yeah. And this group isn't just about relationships. This could be about anything. If you want, like Maurice was just saying, if you're looking to start a business and you don't know which end is up, you got to figure out really what it is you want, but you got to figure out in detail, like to the atom. So let me give you an example. If you want a new house, I'm just using a house as an example. Well, what kind of house? Is it a marble mansion on the beach? Or is it a log cabin in the mountains someplace? What's the driveway look like? When you open the front door, what do you see? Is it a tile floor? Is it a wood floor? Do you have crown molding in the house? What's the staircase look like? What does the kitchen look like? What kind of tile? What kind of backsplash? What kind of countertop? What color are the rooms? What about the backyard? Do you have a pool with the waterfall? Is it just a deck with the view? I mean, really get specific about what it is you want. Start to visualize it in your head. And seriously get that specific about what it is you want. Then you figure out why you want it. Well, I want it because you know what? I've been living in this tiny little house or this tiny little apartment. You know what? I want something better for myself. I want something for my children. Why am I building this business that I want to build? Because I want to leave a legacy for my kids so that they know that daddy did something. Daddy accomplished something. He made this world a better place. You got to get your why right. What it is you want and why do you want it? It doesn't just apply to relationships. It applies to everything in your life.
Yeah.
Really. And you can, what it is, the specifics, the techniques, the techniques and the models and all these things that we're going to teach you guys, that can be tweaked for each person and for each specific thing that it is you're looking to attain in your life. But you got to get clear on what and why. That's your job.
Yeah.
And it's a hard job to do, but it's worth it in the end.
It's not easy, never as easy, but no one said it would be easy. But if you want it, you can get it. And that's the main thing. And the why question is so important because that's your intrinsic motivation. We all know, discipline makes things happen, right?
Yeah.
But at the other hand, if you just take a look at the word discipline, it comes from an old Greek or Roman word, which meant punishment. Because if you discipline someone, right? If you discipline your kids, you're gonna smack them, right? So the word discipline really is a pretty much negative word, actually. So it's like I have to punish myself to make me do this. That's what you're doing. If you're doing things based on your discipline, that means that you're not having the intrinsic motivation to do it. Now, if you have your why in order, I mean, why do you brush your teeth? You don't do that on discipline. You do it on motivation, because you know if you don't, right, that's bad for you. Why do you do the things that you do? Because you want them to do. So you do them, right? So if you figure out your why, you don't even need the discipline. The discipline is only there then to guide you in the moments that you don't feel like. But if you don't feel like it and you start thinking, why is that? Well, maybe I just slept wrong or ate something wrong or am sick, whatever it is. Then discipline can come into place because you have to do it because whatever. But in general, I think discipline is overrated in that part, right? If you go from your motivation, why you want to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah, you think about also with discipline. There's a phrase, there's a saying that I actually have written down inside, and I look at this every day. It says, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. So, for you to start to do something every day that's going to improve the quality of your life, once you get into a habit of doing this every day, 5 minutes a day, read a book, read a chapter in a book, something that's going to help you get towards your goal. It's the discipline of doing something. It's a repetitive. This is how you learn, by doing things over and over and over again. This is how your brain learns, by doing things over and over again. It's the reason you know your name. It's the reason you know how to write and spell and read and do whatever it is that you do. You didn't just come out and you know how to do all this stuff. You had to learn it, and you learned it through repetition. And the same way you develop good habits, this is the same way you develop the bad habits, through repetition. Somebody telling you over and over again, "Oh, you can't do that. What are you crazy? You can't do that. You're not good enough for that." You started to hear that over and over and over again. And all of a sudden you started to believe it. And now there's bullshit in your belief system.
And you're telling it yourself. And you're telling it yourself.
And you start saying it to yourself. Right? And we're going to get rid of that bullshit. Okay? Because if you can learn how to do something right, you can unlearn how to do something wrong. It's the same equation. It's just reframing it. Like you say, well, I have to do this. I have to get up and go to work every day. No, you get to get up and go to work every day. So what? So you can provide a roof for your family. You can provide food for your family. Reframe it. Change what it is you're focused on. Because what's wrong is always going to be there, but so is what's right. So what do you want to focus on? It really does change. It really does change the equation. One of the things I learned is what you think about, the questions you ask yourself, the things you think about, determines what you focus on. What you focus on determines how you feel. How you feel determines how you experience it. So if you focused on, oh God, this is going to suck. I can't believe I got to put up with this shit again. That's how you're going to feel. You're going to feel like it's going to suck. It's going to be a shitty, sucky experience. But if you're focused on, you know what, I get to do this today because it's going to bring me that much closer to my goal. It's going to get me that much closer to that bank account that I want, that house that I want, that car that I want, the girl of my dreams, whatever it is, being able to do something for somebody that you love, whatever that motivation, if you reframe it and turn it into a positive, I get to do this instead of I have to do this. What else is possible? How else can you reframe this and restructure it to turn it around into something that's going to motivate you? Negatives can be positive because, all of that stuff that you think is going wrong, if you're paying attention, it's teaching you how to do something right. You just got to be willing to look for it, search for it.
Yeah. Excellent. And add to that is that also to remember that everything is a choice, right? I remember that triggered when you said, why do you get up and go to work? Oh, I have to go to work again. Well, you don't have to, right?
Right. You don't have to.
Yeah. If you don't want it to, then you don't, right? It has consequences, right? But you can do whatever you want. So everything that you want is coming from a decision. And that's like taking an action. And the action often comes from the feeling that you're having or the experience that you're feeling, right? The state you're in. And if you are in a bad state, you make bad decisions, right? And if you're in a better state, you get better results. So change your state to get better results. Change your way of thinking to get different results. But it all comes down to you making a decision.
And there's people who are going to be watching this who are going to say, well, how the hell do you change your state? What do you do? How do you change your state? Again, it comes down to choices, focus, and skills that if you don't have them, we're going to show you how to change your state. It's not difficult to do, but it requires action on your part and repetition. It's not something that you do it once. You don't go to the gym, pick up a dumbbell for a couple of hours once, and all of a sudden you're Arnold Schwarzenegger for the rest of your life. No, it requires repetitive action. You're going to retrain your brain. Think about this. You're going to retrain your brain, and we're going to show you how. It's not that hard. This isn't rocket science.
It's actually a term called
neuroplasticity.
Yeah, that one. That was it.
Yeah, that one.
Right. You're like really rewiring your brain into other patterns and things like that. So it's absolutely something you can do. It starts with the fact that you understand that the way you think in the end determines what you do. So if you can start thinking about the thinking, right? How am I thinking? What am I thinking? And why am I thinking that? That's pretty much where it all starts.
You mentioned before the foundation, right? Again, back to the house. If you want a nice big house and your foundation is falling apart, it's not going to support the foundation is not going to support the weight of everything that you want. Yeah. We may have to fix some of the cracks. And that's what we're doing here is foundational work. We're getting your foundation solid, helping you get your personal foundation solid so that you can build on it and it'll support the weight of everything that you want. But we got to fix the cracks. We may have to break the whole thing up, start all over again. We may just have to add a little piece here and there, and it's going to be different for everybody. But that's what this is. This is foundational work. Getting you rock solid. And then you can start stacking all the good things that you want on top.
Yeah, that's absolutely. And to show you how easy it is to change your state and what it does with you, I'd like you to think about someone who was very dear to you and is not here anymore, no matter what the situation is at the moment, but he or she is not here anymore. Think about that. The relationship you had, how it was together, what all the fun you had, and now he or she is not here anymore. If you really feel that, you can actually feel that you feel the pain, right, from missing that one. Now, think about the most funny thing you guys did. What was the most fun you did? And think about that moment when you were there with each other and doing what you were doing. And feel that. Now, that is a change of state. You change your way you feel from being sad and missing someone to remembering how fun it was and what great things you did. You felt better because that was a different state, right? So the mind can help you create your state, right? Determine what you're thinking of. Are you thinking about how much you're missing them, or are you thinking about what great things you did? And how do you feel? And again, how you feel makes your decisions, right? So that's just a quick example how easy you can change your state, how you can change the way you think. If you're thinking about something sad, change the thought, because worrying and wondering about the past has no use for now, right? You can't change the past and you can't change the future because the only thing you can change is right now, right? So that's exactly why it's so important to have this state, this how you act at that moment in time is important to focus on it.
And there's a lot of different ways to teach you that we can teach you how to change your state. And it's real easy to be in a great state when everything's going your way. But can you stay in a great state of mind even though something just turns to liquid shit? Can you stay in a great state?
Yeah.
In time, you will be able to, because you'll understand that in that positive state, in that great state of mind, you will be able to overcome. Doesn't mean you're not going to get angry, but you're not going to stay there as long. You're not going to stay angry as long.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to quickly find a way out of that, okay, and resolve whatever it is you're going through. It really is up here. It's here, it's in your heart, it's in your head, it's in your conscious mind, it's in your subconscious mind. It's all these things that we're going to talk about, that we're going to be getting into, and how interrelated all of this stuff really is.
It's even going deeper, right? It's in your mind, it's in your heart, it's in your soul, and it's in your gut, right? It's all connected to each other.
Guys, when something is wrong, you can feel it in your gut. We're going to teach you how to feel it when it's right too, but you're going to learn to those feelings that you have. Really, it's really there for a reason to tell you something, and most of the time, guys ignore it. We're not going to ignore it anymore. We're going to teach you how to use it.
Difficult. Yeah.
Teach you how to use it. And think about this for a minute. When it's a lot of it's based on emotions, because whether you realize it or not, every decision that you make has an emotion attached to it. All right, and if you make a decision from if you're angry or upset or pissed off or sad or whatever it is, and you make a decision from that emotional state, it's going to be the wrong decision. But if you make it from the positive state, it'll be the right decision. You'll know it because you'll feel it. Now, think about this for a minute. When a guy tells a story, this happened, that happened, the other thing happened, the end. When a woman tells a story, you're experiencing this. You are feeling it, you're living it, you're hearing it, because she has attached an emotion to each part of that story, and it is riveted in her mind. And this is why women remember everything. Guys, not so much. Let's be fair. All right. When it comes to the emotion stuff and remembering everything, women are light years ahead of us. But we can learn a few things here. We can learn a few things from them, and we'll get into that too. I'm not going to dump it all out on you today, but we're going to get into that at some point when the time is right. How to actually use that those emotions that you feel that you were taught to suppress, which is why one of the reasons that men are so damn stubborn, dense, and thick-headed. Because look, let's be honest. When you were a kid, you were taught men don't cry, boys don't cry. What are you doing? You got a scraped on, you got a bloody nose. Get back on the football field. Boys don't cry. What are you doing? Girls cry. I don't know. We were taught wrong. And I'm not telling you talking about crying. I'm talking about repressing all of that. Keeping all of that stuff buried is one of the hardest things to accept, that is not the way to do things. We'll get into that more detail another time. I'm going to have a lot of fun with that.
Yeah, it's also to do with the fact that you need to make that the strong side of you, right? The fact that we've learned that and that we aren't the ones that cry for everything, so to say, right? It has its advantages because you can stay focused on the now and act on the crisis and, do that. That's the masculine power. But what we need to learn is to balance it out, that there is also a time to reflect on what has happened and why it's happened and what it's doing with you. And that is something that we think should add to the toughness and the coolness, because that's just also who we are, right? We are men and we are competing and everything. And we want to be strong and we want to be vital and things like that, right? So, and lead and all those kind of things. And that's great. I mean, those are the masculine energy things that we have, right? But we need to balance it out with the things that there's also a time for other things, and it's up to you how to find them and implement them.
Yeah, and have you noticed that when you are in that state, when you're in a good state, that you seem to be more efficient, you can accomplish things faster, you're more productive, you're more efficient, you do a better job when you're in the right frame of mind, when your head's in the game, okay? But another thing is when you're not there, when your head's not in the game, when you're not present, presence is a whole different thing. We'll get into that with relationships and stuff, but there's presence at your job, there's presence in a relationship, there's presence when you're hanging out with your kids, there's presence when you're working on a little side project, whatever it is you're doing. If your head's not in the game, it's not going to come out right. There's an emotional aspect to this. And presence is a huge part of this. All right. Is your head in the game?
Yeah. Being a health coach, I need to add something in there as well, because what I've also noticed in these past years, that, if you, it's all biology, right? Your brain is also the biology, the biochemistry of you. And most of it gets steered by hormones. Now, we all know the hormonal things with women, right? But us guys, we also have hormones, of course, because that's human. So hormones also determine how you feel. That's just what they do, right? They send signals to your brain. This is how you should feel now, because there's danger. So I shoot up cortisol, so you'll act, right? Or adrenaline, things like that. Now, the thing is that a lot of these hormones are also food dependent. So what I've discovered is that, well, I didn't discover it for like the first man in the world, but I have discovered that this actually works. If you improve the food you eat, you'll get a better result. So, for example, I did a 5.5 day fast this past week, which means I didn't eat for pretty much 5.5 days. That does something with you. It does something with your mind. Your body starts processing its energy in a different way. It starts using different energy sources, really like literally different energy sources, not the sugar or the glucose in your regular diet, but the ketones and the ketone power. And man, my brain was like on fire. It was like focus. I could like work 6 hours straight and look up like, shit, it's 2 p.m. I even haven't got a cup of coffee yet, right? So it was really like being on steroids, just because you influence the food, or in this case, no food, but that does the same thing, right? So having good quality, healthy food, working on your health actually helps you also think better, work better, process better. Because we all know the feeling after the Thanksgiving dinner, right? Are you feeling like, yeah, let's run a marathon now and have some effective work on the computer? No, you want to sit down, lay down, chill a little bit, out. Right? Mm-hmm. The food is also very, very important, which you can also combined with everything that we've already talked about. It's again the foundation, right? If you build a house from crappy wood, it will fall apart how good your foundation is. So the same goes for the food. If you eat crappy food, you'll get crappy results as well. So
that's true.
Yeah. All right, man. How late is it? It's 10 minutes for 9. So I think we should wrap it up and for this first episode and see how it went. And guys, if you're seeing this, we're new to this, right? We haven't done this before in this way. John and I never did a podcast together. We're just trying to do what we think is what you like. But please give us some feedback. What did you like and what didn't you like? Were we talking too long? Is it too short? Did we go too deep or is it too shallow? I don't know. We don't know.
What do you want to talk about? You tell us.
Yeah, exactly. What do you guys want to talk about? So give us some tools there. I'm happy to hear some feedback on what you think so we can improve for the next time, which will be next Sunday, of course. Same time, same place.
Yep.
Hopefully the technical issues will be solved by then. So yeah, we'll see by then. But thank you so much for watching. And we guys take care.
Thank you, everybody. Please give us some feedback. Let us know what you think about the kickoff. And looking forward to answering some questions for you next week. All right?
Yeah,
take care, guys. Thank you so much.
I saw that Sandy Spector commented something. So thanks, man. Cool. We at least have one viewer.
Hey.
So that's cool.
Can only go up from here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. So thank you so much. And we'll catch you next time and make it a great week. Take care.
All right. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.